You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org. Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com. Endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide. You can hear shows from Real Coaching Radio TV network while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free news and talk mobile app available for your smartphones, smart TVs, and cars. And when you download Stitcher to hear shows from Real Coaching Radio TV network, you have a chance to win some money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in the App Store. Download it. It's free and just takes a few seconds. Then, during registration, hit the promo code box and enter RCRN to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episode of the shows will be waiting for you in your favorites. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too, always available to you on demand. No syncing. It's Stitcher Smart Radio. Don't forget to enter promo code RCRN when you register at www.stitcher.com/RCRN.
Maxed Out Money Hour is your internet TV program all about money and what makes it go around to have it work for you, or not. Host Ninan and Coach Steve will be featuring informative interviews with financial companies, CEOs, and executives, providing insights into the financial world and their products, services, operations, and an outlook for our financial future. Here are your hosts, Ninan and Coach Steve.
Welcome everybody to the Maxed Out Money Hour on this beautiful, cold Tuesday evening in Denver, Colorado. And I'd like to welcome my co-host Ninan de Verderosa and also our guest, Sydney Chase. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Oh, welcome. We're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hey, where are you? Where are you, Stephen? You got lost, huh?
No, I did get lost. Like I said to you, my laptop that I use for the video decided to have a blonde moment. It is doing what's called the checking the file system, and that takes a while.
That does take a while.
It's one of those things that I have absolutely zero control over. It's almost just like a woman.
Definitely.
I was going to say like marriage. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was there for 29 years, so you're right. Yeah, we are like that, you know.
It's just going to do whatever it's going to do, and I better just go along.
Conscious evolution. Well, welcome to the show, Sid.
Thank you very much for having me.
Steve, what's up?
What's in the news, Ninan? Do you have any news?
I have a couple of things. You know, I always have something up my sleeve. And one is I came across, it says, how many loan modifications can you have, presuming we're talking about one piece of property, because if you have several pieces of property, you're going to have several modifications. But let's just talk about one, which I presume that's what they're talking about. Yes, you can have more than one modification on your home or your property or whatever it is, but it has to be, I believe, and I think Sydney can correct me on this, has to be after 1 year or whatever their rules are. The reason I know this works is because I did it, and I had a couple of pieces of commercial property that I actually modified 2 years ago, and then I went back again just before Christmas to see if they would modify again, and they did. They were very good to me. And so, yes, you can. I think it all depends on the mortgage company, though, you know, if they will do that or they won't do that. The one I went through was a smaller mortgage company. It was not Chase, Bank of America, or Wells Fargo. I don't think they would do it, personally, but you never know. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you are correct. Usually it's 1 a year. But I've known some banks, because I work with most banks here locally and regionally, that they are doing multiple ones within 1 year because of the times.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool that they can do that and they can actually take care of the. And I never know why they don't do that, to take care of their customers that are already in the home, they're already established, and just, make it easier for their payments, easier for the loan. I don't know why they haven't done that right along, but, who am I to say? The other thing is this reverse mortgage thing. Now, I've always been a little bit skeptical on it because I haven't quite understood it as of you have to be over 62 to get it. And there is in St. Paul's, Minnesota, there's an attorney general.
And you don't qualify for that anyway.
Of course not.
So don't worry about it, Ninan.
No, but I tell you what, how can I let people know what's going on out there? Because then I get to sort of correct me if I'm wrong. But this is from this woman, this Attorney General. Her name is Lori Swanson. And she talks about the reverse mortgages, and she says she's never really been that keen on them. And the reason being, I'm going to quote, unquote, that there was a 75-year-old gentleman, George Vogar, and he went into a reverse mortgage. Everything's fine. The only problem was that his wife at that time was 58, so she didn't qualify. Now, he had to pay something like $60,000 to get this reverse mortgage. Now, as soon as he passes away, which he's definitely going to pass away before her, and apparently, this is what I think we ought to be careful of the older generation now.
Well, I'm sorry, Nina, but that just doesn't make any sense.
What?
The whole purpose of a reverse mortgage is to give you income.
Well, it does give you income, but I haven't finished yet.
Not to pay $60,000. That just makes no sense.
He had to pay $60,000 to do the reverse mortgage, which is very high.
That makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Listen to this.
He might have been upside down in the house.
That's possible. It doesn't say that, actually. It says, well, somebody in my... But would not... Anyway, so she's 58. She doesn't qualify, so she's not involved in this, right? So when he dies, apparently, after she's 62, she has to start all over again to do the reverse mortgage, and they turned around and told her it's going to cost her $160,000. That's just my news out there. That's my tip of the day. My buzz going around. So, Sid, they have to be careful, don't you think?
I do. I am also not a big fan of reverse mortgages, so I agree.
Yeah, I just want to warn our older generation out there, because, and as they said, they didn't read everything. 62, 65, who's going to read everything? They trust the people, and so I'm just going to say to all the older people out there, because you can only get a reverse mortgage after 62. Read the papers. Be very, very, very careful, because you could lose everything. And if if you're married and one's much younger and not 62 yet, be careful. You've got to redo it again. Okay, that's all I have to say, Steve.
Okay, great. So let me add something to that. What I noticed today in the news is that the housing market is up. Banks are supposedly lending again. I have no way of substantiating this news, of course. A lot of times news are just made up. But what everybody wants us to watch for is this Friday, when the government cuts go into effect, and see what will that do to the rest of us. What do you think, Sid?
You know what, Steve, I think I better stay away from that response, because it's so broad across the board. I really don't know. It's going to affect a lot of people, some positively and some negatively. So it's a tough thing for everybody.
That is tough. Right, cool. It is tough.
So let's formally introduce Sid. So Sidney Chase, what a great name.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah.
Any connection to Chase Bank?
Chevy Chase, maybe.
Oh, that means you have a personality. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we go to Europe together?
Yes.
We can. I love Europe, especially Sweden.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm actually from there, too. Like Nina.
From Europe.
Except I'm not from the UK.
Okay.
I am from the Paris of Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Testing. Do you know what that is, Sid?
I do not.
That's Budapest, Hungary.
Budapest, Hungary. Okay.
Yeah.
We've not been there yet.
Okay. Well, check it out. All right.
I definitely will. So.
Yeah, Sid is into real estate investments, and almost everything and anything that relates to real estate, and I'm sure we're going to find out about that in just a moment. So a good way to start this would be, say, to let our viewers know a little about you, where you've been, what you've done, and how did you get to this great show of ours.
Before I start on myself, what I would like to do, though, is just go back and answer one of your questions or a statement that you made. I'd like to reply to it. I do have firsthand relationships with regional and local banks, pretty much all on the East Coast. Most of my clients are foreign clients from outside the U.S. So to answer your question, the banks are starting to loosen up. Our Canadian clients now are starting to get mortgages for their investments, multiple investments, not just one anymore. And some of the banks are starting to loosen up for some of the Australian investors. Not so much yet for the Europeans, but Australia and Canada are banks that we work with are loaning to them at this stage. We just did one the other day on a 4-unit for, I believe it was, I think it was around $245,000 for 4 units. So, awesome. So yes, the banks are starting to loosen up.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, sorry, Steve.
Where was the 4 units? Was it in Australia or was it here?
No, it's actually here in the U.S. What we specifically do, most of our business is geared towards overseas clients wanting to buy investment-grade properties here in the United States. I work directly with probably 8 or 9, I think it is, of the regional and local banks on the East Coast. I cover pretty much North Carolina all the way to Florida, over to Tennessee and New York State. And we get direct properties right from the banks. So we offer that to our clients, and most of them are from overseas.
Awesome.
Wow, that's great to hear, Sid, because it's not that easy to verify, what's in the news. I used to be in banking for about 9 years, but I'm no longer in there, so I don't have really my finger on the pulse. So what I read in the news, or on the internet, I don't necessarily always believe it. I don't know about you.
Well, he has proof in the pudding.
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
I talk to the vice presidents or asset managers of those banks almost daily.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about how do we sort of come to Sid Chase Group. It sounds rather enticing. It sounds really, and you've got many, many branches all over the place. So let's find out a little bit about you.
I started a little over 20 years ago. I started investing on my own after some time I spent in the military. I got out and owned my own retail shop and decided that I was working too hard and there needed to be another way. And so I fell into a 4-unit apartment complex. A gentleman fell out of a tree hunting in Florida, paralyzed himself from the neck down. He knew me from the years that I was growing up. He came to me, and his apartment building was next to my feed store. And so he said, his wife called me and said, we would like you to take over the apartment building, $50,000 for all 4 units, no money down, we'll hold the mortgage. I told him I don't even have money for closing, and she said, don't worry about it, I'll cover it. Show up at the closing 30 days from now. I called my father, who's in the real estate, and he's a judge, and he told me not to do it. I hung up with him. I called her back and said, I'll do it.
So goes for mums and dads.
Yeah.
Something's never changed.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. My first year, real short. My first year, I lost $10,000.
So hang on for a second, Sid. This is so interesting. I gotta know more. So what made you call back, not listen to your father, and say yes?
At that point of my life, without going into too many personal details, I always wanted to prove my father wrong.
Okay. So you consistently did the opposite of what you said.
Well, let's not use the word consistently, but let's say more than often.
For this particular time, yes.
Okay.
But what made you think it was such a good deal? Because you were really going against the grain. You're going on something big.
Well, yeah, and to be honest with you, I didn't know if it was a good deal or not a good deal. I didn't run any numbers. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do anything except for show up 30 days later at the closing and sign a piece of paper. Hence the reason my first year I was in the hole for a little over $10,000. I inherited, I got to watch what I'm saying here. I inherited some issues, 4 of them. So that winter that came up, the feed store business is a little slow. I got the New York State Landlord's book, and I read it from front to back 3 times at least. I learned my rights. I learned their rights. And shortly after that, I went through all the eviction processes. I restructured my loan with the mortgage, the people that were holding the mortgage for me. And I used the money that I should have paid them for 4 months. I used it to rehab the property. And then by the second year, I'd made half of my money back already. And I still own that building today.
You'll probably never sell that building because that's kind of your baby. You'll be rehabbing it for the rest of your life.
Just put a new roof on it, actually.
There you go. It never stops. It never stops. So that's really how you got into the Chase Group.
That's how I got started in real estate. A few years, I started buying a few more properties here and there. The FedEx guy kept coming in, and one day he said he noticed that I was driving a different vehicle and I had different things, and we had been friends, and he came up to me one day. He says, "How are you making this extra money?" And I told him, in short, it's real estate. And about 3 weeks later, he walked into the store and handed me a bank check for $50,000 and asked me to invest it in some real estate with him, if he could invest with me, I mean. And off we went. And then his mother got in, his father got in, a few other friends got in, and that's how it kind of all started. And after about 3 or 4 years and 100 or so property flips that I did, my lawyer said, "You know what? You kind of know what you're doing. You can help a lot of people. Why don't you start an official group?" And here we are, the Sid Chase Group.
And it's amazing what you knew that time back, which you're going back, 20 years?
Yes. Yep. My wife and married 21 years, so it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's and you've never looked back.
No, no, and all I'm doing now is looking forward. I love what I do. I totally believe that real estate is definitely a vehicle for wealth building. It's not the only vehicle. I don't recommend people to do just real estate investing, but it definitely is one that people should look at.
And,
okay, great. So
go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so I would love you to share with our viewers your most successful story of flipping homes and your least successful.
I don't have any of those. I'd have to really search my memory banks to come up with one that is least favorite of mine.
Okay, how about a horror story?
Once I learned the real estate market, I did my due diligence, and I would not buy anything. I kept very strict criteria and that I followed. My best deal was I purchased a home from the bank. I think I bought it for $12,500. I bought a 4-bedroom house. I put about $572 into a paint job and cleaning the property up. And I closed on it. I got ahead of myself. I closed on it that morning, and I literally sold it again that same night for $72,000.
Wow.
Yes.
So you made yourself a quick $60,000 or $55,000. Wow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. That's probably the one that sticks in my head the most out of all the deals that I've ever done.
That's amazing. So you were just a little bit ahead of that other person buying it.
Actually, if you don't mind, I'll take about 20 seconds and I'll tell you the story. This property had actually been on the rolls for a while. I had known about it for probably 6 or 7 months. It had been on for over a year. The realtor that I was working with at the time said, "Sid, will you just come and look at this thing and take it off our books, get rid of it for us? The bank really wants to just get rid of it. They'll dump it for you. Dump it." And so I went and looked at it, and I said, "Well, why isn't it selling?" And she said, "Well, there's a problem with the front of the foundation." So I was standing outside, I'm looking down at the foundation. You could see that there was a bow literally a bow in the front of the foundation. So then I go through the rest of the house. Everything else looked great. I get to the basement, and I go over to the same wall downstairs in the basement, and the wall is perfectly straight. So I run back up the stairs. I run back out to make sure that I, didn't have too much to drink or too much coffee or whatever, and I looked at it, and the wall was straight. I come back down. I looked in the inside wall downstairs, the outside wall was crooked. The inside wall was straight. What I realized after a little bit, and I called a bricklayer over, a friend of mine, and we realized that they had pushed the old foundation wall out and built a whole new one on the inside. Oh. So the one that you were looking at from the outside was the old one that was not even being used. The inside one was being used. So I had an engineer guy come over. He looked at it. My bricklayer was there. They go, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I didn't tell the bank that. I offered them $12,500 cash. I'll close in 15 days. They were happy.
There you are. So both people were happy. The bank was happy and you were happy.
I was extremely happy.
Have you actually maintained a good rapport with all the banks? Because it seems like you have.
I have. I deal with, I add new banks on probably every couple of months. A bank will call me and ask me to help them get rid of their REO properties. Oh, the technical word is OREO, but we say it short as REO. But I've been working with the same banks for years and years.
Yeah, because I know that once you make a rapport, because my husband and I were in real estate for many years, like you, and we always had that beautiful rapport with the banks. Obviously, the reason being we want a loan and we want to be helped. So, you take them to lunch and do all that stuff. But it's always a very, very good idea. And I just wondered if that was still working in this day and age, because banks have gone so many different directions.
Yeah, I say it is. The old school, we'll call it, the good old boys club, is still in place. It's a little different now because the internet is out and, they have all types of people trying to get at their back doors to get these lists, but these lists aren't out there all over the place. It's a very few people, select people that get the real list.
Well, they had more time to go to lunches and stuff than ever because they weren't doing any lending for a while.
Yes, but I'll tell you, I have, to this day, I still have not taken a banker out for lunch because, listen, I'm a personable guy. They call me Mr. No Bull, but I'm a personable guy. But I go straight to them and go, listen, we have money. We want to buy. I don't have time to take you to lunch. Do you want to do business or not?
Good for you. At least you're straightforward. They know where you're coming from.
Right, exactly.
And as long as you've got the money, they don't mind.
No, they don't. They don't. They, as long as you could show the proof in the pudding,
proof in the pudding is, yeah, there you go. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So what made you want to expand yourself, because it looks like you're all over kind of America, most of it anyway, and then also you're in a lot in Europe. What made you want to gravitate to having yourself vastly out there and not keeping yourself small?
I'm a very ambitious type of person, a serial entrepreneur, if you'd like to call me that. I saw a trend a long time ago before the market started to crash. What are we, eight years ago maybe now? I decided to go after the European market first. So most of my clients, minus the FedEx guy and his family, I had no other U.S. clients. What I realized is when I was writing my first book is that the market was going to start to peak out and crash, and the European market was going to excel. So if we all know, the currency rate at this time was, the U.S. was around 70 some cents, and Europe, the euro, was $1.50 or better. So I realized that they had too much money as the U.S. counterparts, and the U.S. people wouldn't want to buy the property because they're all from here. Even though the United States has its issues, it's still a great country, and everybody wants to own a piece of it. So I went after the European market first.
And you haven't looked back?
I have not. We no longer have our Swedish office and some of our other offices overseas, and that's only because in the last few years, The foreign market, as everybody knows, has had its issues. It's going to continue to have some issues, I believe, over the next 2 or 3 years. And so now we're concentrating more on the South America clients and Canadian clients, which is one of the biggest buyers, and your Japanese and your clients from China and Hong Kong.
Okay. Steve?
All right. So in addition to real estate and real estate investing, what else do you do?
Well, we do some mentoring. I mentor anywhere from 15 to 20 people a year. I'm more of a hands-on mentor. So I'm not downplaying this person. I'm not a rich dad, poor dad where I put out a program and let you call into an advisor. I'm more of a type of person who wants to walk you through your purchases. So I do some mentoring. But mostly it's all about looking for that professional client who's out there. He's a doctor, he's a nurse, a lawyer, radio disc jockey, whoever it may be, who's out there saying, I've got my 401, I got my Roth, I have a emergency fund, and I have all these things set up. Now I have some extra money that I'd like to invest. But I don't have the time or the knowledge to be able to buy that right piece of property. And so that's the type of clients I look for, and those are the type of clients we help to grow their wealth outside of the norm.
So you actually advise people not to have all their money in a 401 or whatever they've got their money in, to actually sort of get into real estate. Even if they don't know real estate that well, they can still get into it by people like you. And do you actually do everything for them, like buying it and putting it together and renting it, and it's actually theirs, and then they pay you for taking care of it? Exactly.
We are a 100% turnkey operation. So whatever your need is, we can fill that need. If it's from A to Z, we can do that, or if it's from A to C, we can do that. We can help you get your LLC set up if you're a foreigner. We can get you your ITIN number, your EIN number, your bank account set up here in the U.S. We help you walk through all that. If you're a U.S. client, you probably already have that in place. If you're new to real estate investing, we'll help you get all that started. And then we'll help you after we've done a short kind of like interview with you. I want to know, one, am I compatible with you, and are you going to be compatible with me? Meaning, do I really want to work with you? Yeah. Because if I don't feel comfortable with you, then I'm not going to want to work with you. And so there's no sense of working with somebody if you're not comfortable with them. So we go through all these steps. Once we qualify somebody to become a client of the Sid Chase Group, then we narrow down what it is you want to do based on what you already have going on. Meaning, I'm not a big fan of the 401k, but if your company offers it and they match, you should do it. If not, don't waste the money by putting in a 401k. Do a Roth IRA or a SEP IRA. We do a lot of SEP IRA. We work with a couple of companies that do self-directed IRAs. We recommend those. But you need to have an emergency fund. You need to have living expenses. You need to have all these things in order first, and your debt taken care of. Not gone, but at least well managed before you get into real estate investing or any other type of investing.
So it's better to have little pieces in everywhere. Have your portfolio in sort of different directions and not have it all in one place.
Yeah, our philosophy here is that when you hit the retirement age, whether that's 55 for you or 65 or 72, your goal through your life should be to have, when you get to that end of that rainbow, that you should have seven different streams of income coming in. That could be from the real estate, from gas and oil, from gold and silver, from a Roth IRA. It should be a multiple of things, not all in one basket.
I guarantee there's very few people that have 7 different things that they've invested in. A lot of people need a lot of help out there as to where to go because of the last sort of 6-7 years. Everything's been in such an upheaval, and so many older people have lost so much.
You just can't get over the bridge of being able to trust somebody. even myself, and it's hard for people to do that today. But when you're talking to your retirement planner or your financial planner, and they say, you need to be diversified, that doesn't mean diversified in the stock market. It means diversified overall, in and out of the stock market.
7 different places. So you think 7 different places to have your money, and then you're quite safe.
Same as the rainbow, jackpot at the end.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't plan on getting to the end of the rainbow.
It's funny you should mention. Yeah, I'm not on the. My mother loved rainbows. She always loved these beautiful colored rainbows. But talking of rainbows, what's going on with gold and silver? I know silver is sort of, it's sort of reached quite a high plateau. But gold, what's going on with gold?
Both of them right now are on a downturn or a downtrend. I would not be a buyer at this point. I am not a buyer at this point. I believe both of them have some downtrending to do. I don't know how. I don't want to tell you what I think is going to happen, but I do know they both have a downtrend. But buy on the way down, whatever you're comfortable with. Try to own some bullion in your house. Keep some on hand, and some in your some in your stock portfolio.
Do you think it's a good time to sell some of your gold? Keep some, sell some right now before it goes too low? Or all depends on how much you paid for it, I guess. Yes,
that's it. So it's hard to answer that question. I would say it's probably not a time to sell. I'm not selling mine. I've already sold. I sold my silver when it was back up over $40, and I haven't bought any yet on the way down. I believe it's going to go under 25. We'll say that much, and it's not too far from there. And if it does, then I'll be a buyer again. But silver and gold, if you're going to trade it, you should be trading it. If you're going to buy it to hold it as a wealth storage, you should be just buying the bullion or the 1 ounce bars.
There you are, Steve. You can go and buy some gold. Steve,
Terrific.
where are you?
I'm right here. So I'm just curious about something, Sid. I'm just recalling some of my memories from the time when I was in banking, that I worked with a lot of people that had hundreds of thousands of dollars in their checking account. These are specifically doctors and professionals, and they just enjoyed looking at their balances, but they really didn't ever do anything because they claimed that they were too busy with their profession. What would you like to say to those people, because I'm sure we have a lot of them that are viewers. A lot of our viewers make over $100,000 a year. So what would you like to say to them?
If you're leaving your money in a savings account, a money market account, or anything like that, if you have $100,000 or whatever it may be, and you shouldn't use all of it, you should take out a percentage of it and put it to work for you, whether it's in gold, whether it's in silver, or in my case, real estate. Again, I would not be a buyer of gold and silver at this point. I would be a buyer. I would be and am a buyer of real estate at this point. I believe you have probably, my crystal ball is broken, but I would say about 18 months of good buying left in the real estate market.
Yeah, I agree. What about commercial? Do you do much commercial?
We do. Yep. We do some hotels. We do boat marinas. We do a few things like that. Commercial was very lucky. It didn't get this hit as hard as residential. There's still some great deals out there. There's a couple of marinas here in Myrtle Beach that are less than $2 million. Those are steals. I believe we just we did a hotel not too long ago. When I say we did, not me purchasing it, I was one of the consultants on it. We actually lost out on the hotel. We were outbid by $3 million. The winner picked it up for $12.5 million, right on the Intercoastal Waterway. Beautiful place. They got it for about 35 to 40% less than full value.
Wow. Do you ever do any financing?
I personally don't do any financing. No, I do not. I feel that's morally not right for me to do that with my consulting part. So I do have some clients that will do that. We work with some of the larger banks and some trading platforms that do funding.
Awesome, awesome. Because I'm looking for some funding for a hotel. I live in Vegas, and there's a hotel, a small hotel though, and I'm looking to get some funding for it.
Sure. Our funding specialist is Julie, and she's the girl to talk to. Okay,
great. Okay, I will do that. Absolutely. So this book, you wrote a book. Where did you get the time, and why did you write the book?
A certain person wrote another book. It's purple. And I just realized that as I was reading all these books and learning on my own that most of the real estate books out there were what I like to call fluff and stuff, which means there's really no meat in there for you to grab a book, grab this book, go home, read it, and there's actually stuff in here that you can start the next day. Most of the books that were out there at that time again, we're fluff and stuff. They told a story. Your story can be great if it's the first chapter or two, but after that, give me something that I can chew on and get started with. And they weren't really there, or they wanted me to spend $20,000 to come to, a 3-month course with them. $20,000. I already told you I bought one house for $12,500. So for $20,000, I could have bought
2 houses,
almost 2 houses. So it made me very angry, and it's my first book. I wrote it myself I had a ghostwriter somewhat help me. I put it together. I self-published it. I've sold hundreds of them, and it's very basic. Probably 5th grade level, very simple to read. But it's just a noble book. Just noble.
To buy a piece of property is like, it's the same as buying anything. You buy it, you take care of it, and you sell it. And, it's like you've got to know what you're doing, but you don't need to be a Einstein to actually buy a piece of property. It's quite simple. You've got mortgages to pay, you've got lights to pay, you've got gas to pay. It's quite simple, a procedure, but it seems to sort of become very sort of, people don't understand it. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. But that's a good thing, because then everybody would be in real estate. Wouldn't be room for you and I.
Right. Well, I think over the last 6 years, everybody's tried to get into real estate and, and have gotten their bumps and everything. But hey, listen, let me tell the listeners, tell the viewers out there that there was a key piece of news that came out today. Steve talked about it, and it's the Case-Shiller report. Housing starts are up, right? They're up across the country. Yeah. They've told us that now for the last two or 3 months in a row, okay? I knew that prior to that. How did I know that? I watch the stock market. What do I watch in the stock market? I watch the home builders and then everybody that has to feed the home builders. So like Corning Glassware for insulation and those types of companies. And as I saw them starting to ramp up, I realized that boom was coming along. So that's how I figured it out. But listen, if the housing starts are up, and that means not everybody, but a lot of people are building homes, what do I want to buy right now? I want to buy the land in undeveloped developments. That's what I want to buy right now. That's what our clients are buying as fast as we can get our hands on. I think we purchased 2 or 3 more today for our clients. These are bank-owned, undeveloped properties in a development that was started with infrastructure in place. Why are we going after these? Well, first of all, if you're a beginner real estate person, these are very easy to do. One, you don't really need insurance on them because nobody's going to get hurt because there's no building there. Number 2, there's no tenants. Number 3, there's no lights to pay. There's none of those headaches. But why are we buying those? Again, Steve said that the housing starts are going through the roof. So we're getting in before the builders, buying up these lots, and now the builders are coming to us to have to buy so they can build.
And when you buy these lots, do you have all the permits and everything? Because you said do they have the roads in and the permits, so you're kind of nearly ready to go?
Oh, yeah. Basically, what we're doing is we're going through the list and we're finding lots that are in developments that from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, 5 to 7 to 8, 9 years ago, that were distressed. The original builder or developer lost them, and then the banks got all the lots back, and now the banks are dispersing the lots out, but the infrastructure is all in place. Yeah. So the roads are there, the lights are there, the plumbing's there, the pool houses are there, or not pool houses, the clubhouses are there, and in most cases, there's already homes that are built there.
Yeah, because we have a lot of that in Vegas. As you know, I don't know if you've been to Vegas lately, but we've got a lot of buildings there. But I'm talking about big buildings like casinos here that are half done. And I'm looking at them and they're saying they're an eyesore to Vegas. But at the same time, when you see the economy coming back, all of a sudden, you can start building these out. And you can start, then you have a great bargain on your hands.
Right. Agreed. And so that's what we've been doing here on the East Coast. My base now is here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And this is my first full winter down here without being in New York under 6 feet of snow. So I'm a very happy person this year. But we're in a real estate boom. It's amazing how fast they're building here. In the development I'm in, they've built 25 homes in the last 9 months, and there's none of them for sale. They're all sold.
Wow. Well, I hope you had them all.
I got a few of them.
Yeah. So this question has been like at the tip of my tongue here, and this is primarily for our viewers in Denver, Colorado, but any other major metropolitan area where they're going through a light rail system. So our city here in Denver is going through a light rail buildup, and I'm wondering if you have any experience how light rails affect real estate.
I have none, Steve. I'm not even familiar, to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with that term at all. I do very, very little, if pretty much I don't do anything in the Colorado. I used to when I started. I did Colorado, but I don't do anything out west. I'm strictly on the East Coast at this point.
This could be in any city where they are building out a light rail system. Just
what is it? What is it? Explain that, Steve.
It's a train.
Yes.
Oh, the light rail, yes.
Yeah, but it affects the community. I can't answer that question.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. Is it through the town, or is it around the town, or is it to communicate? Because I know they build these rails that can go around, like the circle, that go around the town, like they have them in Chicago and everywhere.
Well,
is that what they're doing?
Right now, yeah, they're building out, east-west, south and east. And then once that's all done, then they're going to connect it all together.
Awesome.
Right. And the majority of your houses from that, your builds are going to be near where those platform stations are, if they're using those. And so, yeah, that's where I would want to concentrate on. The problem that folks are going to have with that, though, is this is something that's been in the planning for probably 5 to 7 years, and the builders or the home manufacturers are all, how do I want to say it? They're already in the inner circle. So it's going to be very difficult for a lone real estate person, even if you're a professional, to get in on those deals.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess the reason they're doing it all is because the gas prices are going up, so they're finding different ways now to accommodate the general public.
Yeah, I still don't know why our gas prices are going up, but this is about real estate, so.
Yeah. I don't know either. I don't care.
It's going up because certain groups of people in the world make money that way.
I understand the system.
There's another way of making money. Yeah, sure.
I get it. I definitely
and they
get
can
it.
just turn the switch up and down.
No different from, we have not had to go through the past 7 years at the level that we did. All the government had to do, and I'm not blaming any one administration over another, but all they had to do is real estate is what makes this economy go. It puts more people to work than any other industry pretty much that there is on earth. And if they would have fed that and fed the banks, we wouldn't have gone through a period for as long as the period that we just did.
And what you just said is so true, because when you think about it, everybody has to have a house to live in.
Correct.
We all need a place to live. I mean,
Right.
yeah, there's the poor people, the homeless people, but they even find a place under a
Well,
freeway,
but come on,
under
guys.
something. You know?
Come on, guys. Let's be real about this, Sid. They did that. I mean, why do you think anybody in this country that could just breathe and sign their name could have a mortgage a few years ago?
Well, yeah.
That was a downfall.
You know what? Where do we got? 10 minutes left, roughly. My thought on that is the individual couple or person who walked into the mortgage broker's office or the bank and said, I want to buy a $500,000 or $1 million property, they know whether they can or cannot afford that over the long haul. So you can't blame the whole caboodle's screw up on the banking system. Yes, did the banking check it off, give them the green light? Yes, so they have some accountability. But the homeowners know what they can and can't afford. And unfortunately, we're in a throwaway society where that people just go out and buy whatever they want. They buy the new cars to keep up with the Jacksons and the Joneses. And the next thing you know, they can't afford the mortgage payment. And so it's just as much their fault that it is the bank's fault. Listen, I went through the same time. I didn't lose my houses. You know what? I didn't lose any of my properties.
Good for you. Good for you.
And, you know, there's a lot of people out there in my situation that do what I do that can't say that, and I'm not badmouthing them at all. You know, they stuck their necks out a little bit farther than I did. You know, I realized that, you know, I have certain things in place, and every investor should, that trigger, just like when you buy a stock, if it drops 12%, it should send you an alert to take a look at it, and maybe you better get out and cut your losses. It's the same concept. So.
But you also did your homework, Sid. You did your homework. You mentioned before that you looked at the stock market. You were watching what they were buying. You were watching what the builders were doing. You suddenly realized that, you know, things were happening, things were moving, and why were they buying all this stuff if they're not going anywhere? Obviously, they were going anywhere, and then you knew the housing industry was starting to flourish because you did your homework. So your message out there is actually for anybody going into real estate, do your homework.
Yes, exactly. Get around the people that are being successful. You know, go to your real estate clubs and learn. Within the real estate club, though, you're normally not going to too many real professional real estate people. But when you find one, somebody similar to myself, stick with them, learn from them. You know, my mentor, I work for free. So, you know, I just wanted to be near him. I worked for free for a few months just to learn the inside trades. And it got to the point where then he trusted me, and what I like to say is he fed me some crumbs, and, you know, and from there I grew.
Back to the pudding.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, we're doing well on this pudding, we are. Listen, how can anybody get in touch with you?
You could go to my website. It is getting redone, but it is up and running right now. It's www.sydchase.com. Anybody can Skype me at Chase Sydney, or they can email us at sid@sidchase.com or invest@sidchase.com.
What is your greatest challenge right now?
Greatest challenge is I don't have enough qualified workers in my office to help me get more work done.
And what sort of qualified people do you need?
People who can show up and just because they only needed $200 for the week, they only work 3 days and come back on Friday to get their paycheck. That would be great.
So you have a few openings there, and people are crying out for work, but you've got work.
Yeah, listen, I don't hire anybody on as a full-time employee. All of our people are affiliates. We set up a separate contract depending on what it is they're wanting to do for us. I have tons of properties. If you have buyers or you're looking to buy, you can sell my properties for me. We have turnkey properties. We have flip properties. We have hotels. You name it, we have it. So just contact me and let's talk.
Hey, you have anything in Vegas?
I have you.
Touche.
Touche. It's a start. I haven't been to Vegas in a couple of years.
I think that's more than you can handle, Sid.
It may be, but it'll be one of my greatest adventures, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge for you. No, I've been in real estate for many, many years, Sid, so I do know, but I know a tremendous amount about commercial real estate. I've had big buildings, little buildings, hotels, motels, you name it. Been there, done that.
Yes.
But I'm looking for investors. Excuse me.
We all are. Listen, there's no reason to compete with anybody out there. You just go out, do what it is you do best, and be legit, be upfront, be honest, and those clients will come to you. They'll find you. And if you can't help a client, find somebody that's in your league that you can pass them over to. You'll get paid back more that way than you would from him doing a deal from you. There's no reason to be greedy. It's ridiculous.
That's funny you should say that, because my husband always sold. He bought wholesale and he sold wholesale. He always left enough in any deal he made. He always made sure there was enough for them to make a profit after they bought it. And he always did that. Always.
Right.
And he had the greatest reputation.
And it's exactly true. Leave enough food on the table, enough meat on the bone, however you'd like to say it. There's more. We obviously know this because the government's been flooding us with money for years now. There's more than enough money out there to go around. Just do a good job, keep your blindfolds on, and be a straight shooter, and you'll be successful.
What do we say? Pigs get fat and hogs choke.
Exactly, and I'd like to add one more farm quote to that. It's one I came up with a few years ago for people.
Either one of them appeals to me.
My wife is looking at me right now because she knows. I can see the smile on her face. She knows what I'm about to say. Listen, for those of you that are looking to get into real estate, looking to find somebody like me, listen. Don't go to the pig farmer to raise cows.
Oh, I like that. That's almost as good as mine.
Yeah, almost. Not quite. You delivered yours better.
Delivery is everything, Steve, what's yours?
I like cows.
Oh. Well, I suggest you go to the cow farm.
And if it sounds too good to be true, it definitely is.
Yeah. And Sid is Mr. Noble, so that works for me.
Yes, Mr. Noble.
So I think one of the hardest things for all the people out there and our viewers and just in general is to distinguish between who's full of stuff, like full of crap in terms of real estate professionals, and who's for real. Because if I look back in the last 10, 15, 20 years that I've been doing this, and I've been involved in real estate investment clubs, I even did a radio show for one of them, there is so much of the not straight shooters out there. I think we need to have a show about how do you tell the difference between who's real and who isn't?
Let me say one word: credibility. Period. Credibility. If they don't have credibility, and they haven't been in, somebody came up to me the other day and said, "Hey, I can help you. I've been in real estate for years." Listen, it may not be that they can't help me, but really, so look for somebody who's been in, has longevity, preferably doesn't have a whole bunch of judgments against them, and the IRS or the federal government is not looking for them for some reason. Look for somebody that has roots, and if they put out any type of material, a book. Listen, if you look up my name, Sid Chase. You Google me, I'm everywhere. You're going to find everything.
I did. I've Googled you. You are all over the place. You are everywhere.
Yeah, and
we're all everywhere.
Same with Ninon,
same with me. We're all over the place.
No, I think, Sid, that it's something, it's a feeling. You know, you sit and you let them talk and you listen to them, you watch their body movement, you watch what they say. And because you've been in real estate a long time, I've been in real estate a long time, so you and I are very hard people to get had. You know, because you listen to them and you think, oh, that's not right. And then somebody walks in and you know that they're so sincere. You have that trust and that feeling, I think, a lot.
Yes, it is a feeling. You do get that. And if you're feeling, when you're talking to somebody, and you don't feel right, hang up the phone, walk away, don't be rude, but just do it and go find somebody else.
Yeah, and there's plenty out there. There's plenty out there to do business with. Plenty of good ones to do business with out there.
There is.
Yeah, and there's also something to say about actually meeting people and touch them and look them in the eye. I know it's maybe a little bit old-fashioned, but because of the, what's going on the internet, but for me, that seems to work. I mean, I've been in meetings with Ninon before where, oh my God, you could tell within 5-10 minutes. And people have great delivery in terms of how they
wandering
speak.
their eyes. They can talk and wander all over the place. I have a great thing. I always say, excuse me, but I'm over here. Don't look at me over here. I'm not over there. I'm not over there. I'm here, And you can tell, Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, you are both correct.
Okay, what's your website again?
www.sidchase.com. And again, over the next week or two, it will be changing, but just bear with us. We're upgrading and changing some things on the site and moving in a little bit different direction for the next 3 years.
Awesome. And where can anybody get your book?
The book is, I only sell it, I believe it's on Amazon, and if you want a signed copy, I won't charge you anything extra for it, by the way, but you can just go to my website, go to the bottom of the page, and it's right there. Just order it through pay it through PayPal. If you don't want to use PayPal, just call the office, send me a check, and I'll send you the book.
I'm expecting to get one in the mail from you.
You haven't sent me that personal address yet.
No, it's not my email, but I'm going to send you one of my books. So I have a book as well. So I'll send you mine, and you send me yours.
That sounds good.
Okay?
I have 2 new books
Sounds like a
coming out
relationship
this
made
year.
in heaven.
Say again, Steve?
Sounds like a relationship made in heaven.
There you go.
You send me yours, I send you mine.
I have 2 more books that'll be out this year, and I co-authored on 2 other ones. So they should all release this year, I'm hoping.
Wonderful. That's amazing. That's wonderful. You must be very proud of yourself.
Listen, I just get up, put my pants on like everybody else does, and I work hard. Other people can be proud of me, and we'll go from there.
Wonderful. I think we're coming to an end, aren't we, Steve?
Yes, we are.
Oh, bummer.
No, it's not a bummer. We're just getting all hot and heated.
Doesn't
Just getting the act on the road now, and we're going to go.
Exactly.
It's not even an hour. It seems like just 5 minutes.
Well,
Yes, it was very quick. It was a pleasure.
You've been a
All right,
delight.
so I have to say, I have to do my duty, which is to say a little commercial for one of our sponsors, and that happens to be creditcleanedup.com. More than 42 million people out there are having credit challenges in the world, which also stops them a lot of times to do real estate investing, right, Sid?
Yes, that is true.
And so I feel that one of the best ways people can be responsible and accountable is to fix their credit. And statistics say that 73%, more than 73% errors show up in people's credit reports. Mm-hmm. So do your due diligence, like what Ninon and Sid has been talking about all of it throughout the show. This should be part of your due diligence, is to make sure that you know what's in your credit report, in all 3 of them, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And if there are errors, do something about it. Go to creditcleanup.com and take care of it.
Awesome.
Yes.
I shall do that. No, I don't need to do it. Well, it's been a delight, I must say.
Well, thank you all. It's been a lot of fun to be with you, Sid and Ninon. and